As we proceed, viewer discretion is highly advised. The following content is presented for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is a verbatim transcript of federal courtroom testimony from the Sean Diddy Combs trial, as reported. I never thought I'd be standing here, beneath the cold glare of courtroom lights, with my life carved open like an autopsy. But I guess when you've danced too close to the edge for too long, eventually, something or someone pushes you off. I'm not here today because I want to destroy anyone. I'm here because silence is a currency I can no longer afford, and if I keep paying in secrets, I'll lose what little of me is left. They say the devil wears Prada. I say he wears sunglasses indoors and smells like oud and money. He doesn't walk, he glides. And when he smiles, the room gets colder. His name is Sean Combs, but to the world, he's Diddy. To me, he became something else entirely. It started in 2005. I was 17, hungry, and talented. Fresh out of Barbados, armed with nothing but a demo and the kind of dreams only girls who grew up poor can afford to dream. I met Jay-Z first, and yes, he gave me a shot. But behind him, watching, was someone else. He didn't say much at first, just stared. When I walked out of the meeting that day, he followed. "You're not like the others," he said. "You've got something deeper. You've seen things." I didn't know what he meant. Not then. That was the first time he touched my shoulder and looked into my eyes for too long. Like he wasn't just seeing me, he was scanning me. In the months that followed, Diddy kept showing up. Studio sessions, award shows, parties, always on the edge of my circle, always with something to offer. "You don't need to be a star," he whispered one night at an after-party in Manhattan. "You're meant to be a god." It sounded like flattery. I laughed. He didn't. "You laugh now," he said, sipping something brown and expensive. "But you'll see. I don't invest in mortals." The real shift happened after my first platinum plaque. I was barely 18, and already the world wanted more of me than I had to give. That's when the phone calls started. "You tired?" he'd ask. "Yes," I'd whisper, lying in hotel rooms with blackout curtains and insomnia. "I got something that'll help. Come by." It was never a request. His house in the Hollywood Hills wasn't just a mansion. It was a maze. The first time I went there alone, I couldn't find the same door twice. Mirrors, staircases that led nowhere, candles even in the daytime. It was like walking into a fever dream. That night, he led me to a private room, red lights, velvet walls, a single chair in the center. "Sit," he said. I didn't move. "Don't make me repeat myself." So I sat. He circled me like a lion. Then he crouched down and whispered, "You want to stay on top? Then you have to understand what's really happening in this industry. This isn't about talent. It's about energy, blood, contracts." I laughed again. His hand gripped my wrist. "I'm serious, Robin. Everything you think you have, fame, love, influence, none of it is real. It's leased, and I'm the one holding your paperwork." Over the next few years, I told myself I imagined it, that maybe I was just tired, paranoid. But every time I saw him, there was this tension in the air, like he knew something about me I didn't. He began calling me at odd hours. "Did you eat today?" "Yes." "Are you happy?" Silence. "You should be. You signed the invisible deal." I asked him what that meant once. He said, "You owe me your soul." He said it like a joke. Only he never laughed. It got darker in 2009. After Rated R, I started pulling away. Too many parties with locked doors. Too many flights with no destination listed. I woke up once in Paris with no memory of how I got there. just a note on the nightstand. You did well last night. Don't worry. We cleaned up. There was lipstick on the mirror that wasn't mine. The worst night was in 2011. I had just left a studio session in LA. It was late, maybe 2 a.m., when I got a text from Diddy. Come now. I shouldn't have gone. His place was too quiet when I arrived. No music, no laughter, just his assistant standing at the door with a look that didn't match her face. She's ready, the assistant said, like I was a product. They led me down a hallway I had never seen before, even though I'd been there a dozen times. At the end was a room I still can't fully describe. It smelled like incense and salt. The floor was black marble, the walls lined with portraits of artists long gone. Biggie, Pac, Whitney, even Aaliyah. Candles flickered in front of each like a shrine. He was sitting in a chair in the center, shirtless, eyes closed, whispering something in a language I didn't recognize. When he opened his eyes, he smiled. You made it. That night, he asked me to place my hand on a book I'd never seen before. The pages looked ancient, the letters faded and strange. Repeat after me, he said. I refused. That's when he lost it. You think you've come this far on talent? You think it's just luck? You owe me. His voice dropped. I built you. I protected you from what really happens to pretty girls in this business. You've never been robbed, never been raped, you've never been exposed. That's not because you're special. That's because you're mine. I froze. You will sign. If not tonight, then later. But you will. I left that night shaking. I didn't speak about it for years. I changed numbers, avoided events he attended, declined meetings. But every time I thought I was free, something else would happen. A leaked photo, a hacked email, a missed endorsement deal for no reason. It was like he was flicking switches from a distance, reminding me, I own the grid. In 2014, I tried to confront him publicly at a private event. I walked up to him in front of a group of mutuals and said, whatever you think I owe you, I don't. He smiled. He leaned in, and he whispered, they all say that, right before they vanish. I didn't sleep that night, or the night after. In 2016, a journalist called me out of the blue. He said he was investigating a network of artists who had all been tied to strange spiritual contracts in the music industry. Diddy's name came up. So did mine. I denied it. Hung up. But something inside me cracked open. In 2019, I found a note slipped under my hotel door during a world tour. You know what you signed. Stay in your lane. There was no signature, just a symbol. It was the same symbol on that book from 2011. The straw that broke everything came in 2022. A friend of mine, not famous, just someone I trusted, died under suspicious circumstances. Overdose, they said, but she never used. 2 weeks before she died, she told me something I'll never forget. You think you escaped. You didn't. You just stopped looking at the leash. So now, here I am. Not because I want revenge, but because I want to breathe. Because silence didn't save her, and it won't save me. I know this story sounds insane, unbelievable. But then again, so is this industry. You think fame is about red carpets and Grammys? Fame is a factory. And Diddy runs a department most of you never see. After my testimony, he still didn't flinch. Just stared at me with the same smirk he had in 2005. But this time, I didn't look away. Because no matter how powerful a man may seem, the truth has a voice. And today, that voice was mine. The courtroom was so silent you could hear the hum of the ceiling lights. Diddy didn't say a word. His lawyers leaned into each other, whispering like they were planning a funeral, not a defense. The judge cleared her throat. "Ms. Fenty, that will be all for now. You may step down." I stood slowly. My hands were trembling, but not from fear anymore, from release. After years of suffocating beneath the weight of untold stories, I could finally breathe. I didn't look at him as I walked past, but I felt it. The stare. The burning kind. The kind that says you just made an enemy out of the wrong man. Too late. Outside the courthouse, it was chaos. Cameras, microphones, reporters screaming my name like it was breaking news that I could speak. I didn't stop. Not for them, not for headlines. But one voice cut through the madness. "Rihanna, are you scared of what happens next?" I paused, then turned slowly to the sea of lights and hands. "I used to be," I said. "Not anymore." And with that, I got into the car. No security, no entourage, just me, my truth, and the sound of a door shutting on my old life. The backlash was immediate. That same night, hashtags trended globally. Rihanna speaks, Diddy exposed. "You owe me your soul?" Some fans cried, some screamed in disbelief, some said I was lying, bitter, ungrateful. Others called me brave, a survivor, a whistleblower. But it wasn't the fans I was worried about. It was the phone call that never came. He always reached out, even when I avoided him, especially then. But this time, nothing. Which meant something was happening behind closed doors. Within a week, everything started shaking. 3 other artists, 2 men, 1 woman, anonymously submitted sealed statements to the court. I couldn't see what they said, but I knew. I knew because I'd seen the look in their eyes before. That hollow, worn-out look of people who had signed away something they didn't know they had. By the second week, leaks began to trickle online. Old photos, NDA documents, a shaky video that showed a blurry figure in a mansion with red lights and velvet walls. People were putting the puzzle together, and the more they connected, the faster the media tried to tear it apart. Diddy's legal team released a statement calling my testimony delusional fiction and a desperate attempt at attention. But I wasn't surprised. Power never surrenders quietly. What did surprise me, though, was who spoke up next. A retired studio executive posted a thread on X, formerly Twitter. He detailed incidents from as far back as 1998, women vanishing from events, contracts signed under duress, and artists mysteriously blacklisted after one dinner at Diddy's estate. The tweet went viral. More people came forward. Names that once walked red carpets with pride were now whispering behind burner accounts and anonymous emails. And then, something changed. By the 3rd week, the FBI got involved. Allegations of trafficking, illegal surveillance, coercion. It was no longer a courtroom drama. It was federal. A search warrant was issued. They raided 3 properties. One of them, the mansion in the hills. They found that room, the red lights, the marble floor, and a safe filled with videotapes, hard drives, and a book with pages that looked ancient. When I saw the photo, my chest locked. The same book I refused to touch in 2011. Only this time, it was real and logged into evidence. By the end of the month, Diddy disappeared. His lawyers claimed he was resting abroad. The media said he was undergoing mental health treatment. But people online had other theories. He's running. He's hiding something bigger. He's not coming back. I stayed silent, not out of fear, but because I didn't need to speak anymore. I had already said what mattered. The rest wasn't my war. It was truth versus empire now. Then came the biggest twist. A private video leaked. It showed a masked conversation between two people, voices altered but unmistakable. "I told her she owed me," one voice said. "She thinks she can win this?" The other replied, "Let her speak." The walls are already burning. That was the final crack. Labels began distancing themselves. Brands pulled sponsorships. Artists unfollowed. A few apologized, privately, quietly, for ever doubting me. But I didn't care about being right. I cared about finally being able to look at myself in the mirror. And for the first time in a long time, I could. It's been 6 months now. The trial is still ongoing. More evidence, more testimonies, more victims. Diddy hasn't returned to the States. Interpol is watching. And me? I'm free. Not in the cliché fairy tale way. Not riding off into the sunset on a unicorn of vindication. But in the real, raw way. No more pretending. No more handshakes with men who smell like power and secrets. No more whispers. Just me, my voice, my peace. Last week, I visited Barbados again. I walked barefoot on the sand. No cameras. No team. A little girl ran up to me. She couldn't have been more than 7. She looked up at me and said, "My mummy says you're not scared of the bad men." I smiled, then knelt to her level. "I used to be, but not anymore." She grinned, then whispered something I'll never forget. "Then I won't be either. That's why I did it. Not for revenge, not for headlines, but because if I didn't speak, the silence would have killed me louder than any scandal ever could, and because someday, when the dust settles and the world forgets, I'll remember. That in a room full of giants, I told the truth, and it echoed. The question now is, what happens next? Will more witnesses come forward? Will the feds dig deeper? Or will this case vanish into the shadows of Hollywood power? Do subscribe, turn on notifications, stay vigilant on this channel, and remember, some secrets can't stay buried forever because more witnesses are coming forward daily. New evidence is being uncovered, and the walls are closing in on Hollywood's most powerful players.